Becoming religious when growing up atheist. I feel like more commonly you hear the stories of those that grew up in a really strict religion that they kind of escaped from. In some scenarios, it was more of an escape than others, but it was a pretty extreme scenario.
You know, the religious group your parents are in is definitely a cult. Like, control what you eat and the people you see every day and what you read and everything about your life. That's a cult.
Or you hear about those that were raised in a specific religion and then they had something that they could resist against, whether it was going to church on Sundays or Bible camp. I don't know enough examples because I wasn't personally raised in religion, but there was something they could resist to, and then as they grew older, they actually came back to the religion of their family that they were raised in. But what about all of us that didn't grow up with religion at all? Are we a blank slate to work with? Before we continue on, if you are new here, my name is Tori. I live in LA and my comment section is completely open. If you want to share any of your experiences when it comes to religion, if you want to share your story, if you want to ask questions, anything, I'm completely open to it. If you're going to be mean, I will maybe say some funny comments back to you, or maybe I will delete them depending on how bad it is. But at the same time, I am open to the opinions of others. I am open to different beliefs than my own. So feel free to have a conversation down there. Just try to be kind about it. We all have our own histories and experiences, and I would really appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe button down below. I post a new video every single Wednesday talking about a lot of controversial topics that are hard to talk about, hard to hear about, but are my favorite things to actually discuss because I think they're real and they're vulnerable. So let's continue on. But what about all of us that didn't grow up with religion at all? Are we a blank slate to work with? I don't really think that's fully possible because I feel like somewhere down the line, one of your family members was religious. No matter how far you have to go back, if it's a third cousin, there is religion somewhere in your genetics, in your family history. You might have to take an ancestry DNA test, but somewhere could tell you what religion one of your family members practiced. Or you have the religion of the area you live in, which is a very common one, whether it is your neighborhood, your state, your province, your country. A lot of times there is a more common religion in that area, and a lot of times there is also a social, an online, or a government influence or persuasion into what religion you should go towards.
And the fact that religion is associated with morality are the two biggest problems. That people seem to feel they need religion to have morality, and if you don't have religion, you are immoral. And in this country, that just means people can say bad things about you, but in other countries it means you'll be killed. It is perhaps in my mind the worst part of religion.
And I am blessed enough to have the safety and freedom to basically choose what religion I want to practice for the most part. And it might sound weird to say, but how do you choose what religion you are going to go down the path of discovering your faith when it comes to having so many options?
Is religion something to be chosen, like a favorite flavor of ice cream? There are a lot of voices vying for our attention. So why should anyone consider Jesus above, say, Muhammad, or Confucius, Buddha, or Charles Taze Russell, or Joseph Smith? After all, don't all roads lead to heaven? Aren't all religions basically the same? The truth is that all religions do not lead to heaven, just as all roads do not lead to Indiana. Jesus alone speaks with the authority of God because Jesus alone conquered death.
And I feel like even when you see the videos that are trying to help you decide what religion you're gonna go towards, a lot of times they have a hidden agenda. And usually it is go towards my religion, even when it starts out so innocent as that video did. Like, I thought I was going to learn a lot about different religions when that video started and from the title, but no, it was basically go towards my religion because it is the better option of all of these. Instead of giving me information on each of them and letting me come to my own conclusion on what is right for me. I just wish most information out there wasn't a sales pitch, wasn't looked at as the right religion. Now, personally, I did not grow up in faith. I went to church maybe a handful of times, and I honestly don't even remember. Like, part of me believes that I've been in a church when it comes to a church setting, not just looking at the architecture of a beautiful church and going on a tour, but actually being there for service. I believe believe I have done a handful of times, and I couldn't even tell you. Now, my dad was raised Catholic or Christian. I can't remember which one it is, and I couldn't even fully tell you the difference between the two. And then my mom was raised Mormon. And even though both of my parents were raised in a religion different than each other and in different ways of strictness, they chose not to raise me in any kind of religion at all. And I don't really think they had too much of a negative outlook on religion. I don't think I was really taught to like not believe in anything, but I also really wasn't taught to believe in something. Nor do I really have much education on different religions, even some of the most popular ones. I barely know anything about them. And you might, as you get older, start to ponder the idea of religion as I have, but then it brings up the question of why are you choosing to consider faith? And is there ever really a bad reason? I've often heard the idea of as long as it brought you to faith, that's all that matters. But again, usually that's when someone wants you to believe in their faith, and any way that brought you there is good enough. So is it the right place to go when you're looking for friends or community, or maybe emotionally you're in a bad place and you're looking for a higher power or more meaning and explanation for all of the pain?
You've lost your close friend or relative. This type of emotional stress might set you on a religious track. Often it happens under the influence of someone in your circles.
Or you are starting to believe that there is something out there, a higher power, a God, whatever it is, and you want to look more into it. And no matter the reason, I feel like only you can decide if that's a good reason to go towards a religion, go towards a faith. Because I could think of endless solutions for all of those problems, but at the same time, I will admit, as someone that is not religious, I still think faith and religion is the most catch-all answer to a lot of problems.
Because conversion solved big emotional problems. Religion provided security, joy, purpose, self-discipline, fellowship, and love. When the emotional salvation was absent in the amazing believers, so was dedication. It means that the amazing believers almost always converted for social reasons, and not so much to actually learn about the religion. It wasn't an intellectual drive or curiosity.
It has a lot of things that individual things don't have solutions for. And I don't think it's always best to say, like, what can you get from a religion or being religious? But at the same time, I will say when I seek out solutions to those different things, because over the years, I've probably considered faith and religion in general for all of those reasons above and so many other reasons. And I try to look for those solutions in other places. And it's hard. I tried going to the gym and going to female meetup groups, and yes, I got a lot of the things I was looking for, but at the same time, I didn't get everything, and it was so much harder. There's a lot of things built into the structure of religion, especially if you are practicing one that is more common. There's a lot of things that are already built in that you don't have to struggle to find. At the same time, though, I still don't know if that's a good enough reason to go towards being religious. So if I believe that religion is one of the best solutions and a catch-all to a lot of problems, why have I not become a religious fanatic or joined a cult? Well, a lot of it has to do with guilt, fear, and shame, and not my own, but the tactics that are used in a lot of religions or built into the structure of their beliefs.
So the problem is when people take precepts based on things that are clearly wrong, doctrines that are clearly wrong. Say, for example, that homosexuality is evil. A precept written in a book that codified the beliefs of illiterate peasants in the Iron Age. And somehow we're supposed to use it as a basis of morality today. It's just an empirical fact that not only is it not unnatural, it's not evil. It's not unnatural. If you take, for example, sheep, 10% of sheep have long-term homosexual relationships. They don't even have a soul to go to hell. So it's certainly not unnatural. And so the problem is that the real problem is when people take beliefs that are clearly based on things which are incompatible with reality, not only believe them themselves, but try and enforce them upon others. You see it everywhere. I certainly see it in my country, where people view religious freedom as the right to impose their beliefs on other people.
That just goes so against how I live my life. And then there comes the side of being too money conscious and too independent to join a cult. Though sometimes I am tempted when you see the movies, and honestly, it just seems like they're having a peaceful yoga moment and so zen and just enjoying life and gardening. But I understand that's not really the reality, and I think in general there is a very fine line between unity and gang mentality, between codes of conduct and suppression, between faith and unjustified reasoning.
God's ways are higher than ours, so we shouldn't expect to understand him. It doesn't actually answer the question of why God does certain things, and even undermines any statement that God does do any specific thing. But if believed, it prevents the person who holds it from leaving the larger belief in God. It can even be used to blame rational questions about God on the ignorance and weakness of the person asking questions. Basically, it's a feature that, if added to a belief system, prevents those inside the belief system from discarding it when valid questions or criticisms are present.
And I do often agree with the idea that religion is used to control the masses like sheep. So with all the mixed opinions of religion, and if it's even justified, what if I still want to find out if it's right for me? Because I do see the benefits of so many aspects of religion, especially the community. That's one of the biggest ones. I often feel like I don't have that community that I really wish I did. It's not like a workout class where I can just go wander into the gym and ask for a free trial and just try it out and see if it's for me. And then I can go to another gym and another gym. And it's also not like going to an open house on Sunday and you're with a bunch of other people who are also shopping around. Going into a church when you basically know nothing and have no clue where or if this is the place you want to be, if you believe in it at all, it's like basically being an alien and going to different planets and deciding which one you want to live on. There are thousands of religions across the world throughout history, and I had to Google it, but there are 5 that are the most common: Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Judaism. So that at least narrows it down to 5 likely planets that you are going to visit and decide what is right for you. But at the same time, indecision is easier. It's easier to not look into any of those faiths and decide that continuing on with what I'm doing is working. Because a lot of those belief systems that come with religion, I do personally in another way, shape, or form. I often say the universe instead of God, like there is a higher power. I often manifest instead of pray. I hold myself to moral standards and codes of conduct. I believe in modesty more as I age, and often I hope there is destiny and purpose. But at the same time, I don't believe in heaven or hell.
No one had proof that hell was a real place. All of these things were stories and were presented in a highly emotive way, absent any real evidence.
I don't believe in much of an afterlife.
The meme from Greek culture, that being the idea that people are rewarded or punished after death according to their virtue in life.
I don't believe one religion is right over another, and I don't believe it should be used to persecute or control people.
If you don't have religion in other countries, it means you'll be killed.
And I also don't believe it should be used to guilt or trick people into a religion. And it's just so hard to pursue any kind of faith without rolling my eyes. And that sounds horrible, but as a child not brought up in religion, it almost seems impossible to go down that path without really questioning the ideas and rules that other people have when it comes to their religions, because it's like going to another planet and hearing their rules. It's just so unfathomable from what you were grown up and raised to understand. And it's not like I was grown up to be atheists, but I wasn't grown up with the ideas that some people have been grown up since the day they were born.
Reason gave them no choice. As former Pentecostal pastor Jerry DeWitt noticed, people do not choose to be an atheist. They realize they are. So the amazing apostates almost always changed because they felt intellectually compelled to do so. They found too many inconsistencies, too many unprovens, too many implausibilities, and also too much sexism and too much unfairness to base their lives any longer on what they came to see as a pack of fables. They had an unusual drive for the truth and personal integrity.
But it's hard to understand something that someone has grown up their whole life believing and researching and looking into and being a part of every aspect of their life, and you had none of it. Overall, this video might not be my journey to religion, and it might not be the journey to religion for you, but it's not to say that I will never seek a religion of some form. It's not to say that I will never go to church, or I'll never look more into the 5 most common religions and see if one is right for me. But that being said, I don't see anything wrong with having a little faith, but I think it's important that we do our best to be open-minded and kind to ourselves and to others. So if you like this video, I would really appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe button down below. I post a new video every single Wednesday, usually on topics that can be a bit controversial and hard to talk about. But those are my favorite. So I hope you have a great rest of your morning, evening, night, whatever it is for you. I'll see you Wednesday. And if you have any of your stories when it comes to religion that you want to share down below, I would love to read them.